Listening, speaking, reading and writing. These 4 skills can be segregated into 2 categories. Category 1, the receptive skills. Category 2, the productive skills. Listening means you are receiving the sounds created by others, sounding pattern of a particular language created by others, and you understand based on your own level of understanding and the knowledge of language. So this is a receptive skill. Listening is a receptive skill. On the other hand, you have the other skill like speaking. If I am speaking, you are listening. If you speak, the rest of us will listen. Means listening and speaking. Okay. Unless there is any listener, do you think that a speaker will speak? Unless there is any student in the class, do you think that a teacher will teach? No, not at all. So teacher or a speaker is producing sounds in a specific language, in a particular language, in order to communicate with the listeners. So listeners are at the receiving end, the speakers are at the producing end. Now, and in this particular class, I am a speaker, you are all the listeners. I am at a side where I produce sounds. Means when I speak, I am producing sounds. This is the productive skill for me. At the same time, you are listening to me, you are a listener, you are audience, means you receive some sounding pattern produced by the speaker, so you are at the receiving end. So this skill is your receptive skill. Now you see in the context of other 2 skills also. As something is written on the board, okay, something is written on the board or something is printed on that particular flex or something that you could see here on this particular portrait, either it is written or printed. Means this content which is either written or printed is a productive skill. When I wrote something on the whiteboard, means I am producing something in the written context, in the written form. So this writing is a productive skill for me. At the same time, when you happen to read it, okay, you happen to read it. When you read it, reading is your receptive skill. Reading is your receptive skill because your eyes concentrating on some content which is written or printed, whatever is coded, you try to decode and read out and understand. So communication process is complete. Got it? The communication process is complete. As generally we say, like there is a message, there is a sender of the message and there is a receiver of the message. Okay. But suppose the language variation takes place. Suppose I don't know Kannada and you communicated something in Kannada. Do I understand? I don't understand. The sender should follow a language which is equally known to the receiver and then convey the message. Then the message will be conveyed successfully. Sender will be successful in sending, receiver will be successful in receiving and understanding. Then the process of communication completes. So here, when we talk about listening, speaking, reading and writing, these are the 4 skills of a language, any language in the world. Okay, any language which is available in 2 forms, one is the verbal form and other is the written form. If suppose there is a language which is not available in written form, can I use all 4 skills there? No. If there is no writing possible, there is no question of reading. Only speaking and listening will take place. Just like some of the languages are there, okay, especially Marwari language. Okay, it is only verbal language. They don't write in Marwari. They don't have a script. Okay, they speak, but they don't write. When they happen to write, they write either in the any local language that they studied, maybe English or whatever language of their communication or medium in the school. It may be English, it may be Marathi, it may be Hindi, it may be anything, depending on their background of education. So here, today I am going to talk on the most important aspect of English phonetics, that is received pronunciation. Now, can you tell me what do you mean by received? Just before I explain, two receptive skills are there. Listening is a receptive skill. Reading is also a receptive skill. It means you are receiving from others, you accept it, already coded, you decode it. Okay, once you decode, you understand it. These are the intrinsic aspects of language learning and language acquisition. So here, especially in the context of English phonetics, when we talk about received pronunciation, it carries a lot of meaning in the world. Not only in one country like Britain or United Kingdom or Europe as a continent or India as a country like that. See, just like Marathi, take the example of Marathi first, then I will talk about English as a language. You know, the way we speak Marathi in Dharashiv district and Latur district, probably the speakers of Parbhani, Aurangabad, Jalna, they speak differently. The people in Vidarbha, especially Akola, Buldhana, Nagpur, Wardha, they speak the same language but differently. If you get into the Khandesh belt, Bhusawal and Jalgaon, again they speak Marathi. If you go to Pune, you find the people belonging to the sophisticated strata of society and they call themselves the Saraswats and they have a sophisticated accepted Marathi, right? We have the same language called Marathi. But a group of people belonging to different regions of a state, they speak in a different way. Their accent vary. Okay, linguistic inputs are the same. Their script is the same. But the way they speak, the way they pronounce, that varies. Okay, so that variation is there, means accent variation is there. Language remains the same in the entire state of Maharashtra, that we speak same Marathi. Okay, but grammatically it is the same. For writing script it is the same, Devanagari script. But when it comes to the accenting pattern, it varies. It varies. Okay, there is a proverb in Marathi. Dar 12 कोसाला भाषा बदलते. Okay. So if you convert this course into kilometers, approximately 2.5 or 3 kilometers is equal to 1 course. So 12 into 3 means 30 to 36 kilometers if you go away, you will find the variation of language accent. So if it is happening around us like this, then you just imagine English being used by the people across the world. Okay, English as a language started in England. It was the language of the English people. Okay. Later on, it expanded in the course of time. It became the language of the particular country, or later it became the language of the United Kingdom. All isles, all lands coming under that, they accepted this one. But wherever they ruled across the world, and maybe in the lateral time they left the countries, but they have deeply rooted language, their own language in that particular land, which was politically occupied by the British people. Okay? Britishers ruled African countries, Asian countries, even they ruled some part of Australia as a continent. See, they migrated to America also, right? Along with other European people. So if you see the map of the world, British people politically dominated most of the countries scattered in different continents of the world. Wherever they politically dominated, they have deeply rooted their culture along with their language, that is English. Do you think that the people of India happily accept English as a language? Do you think so? I don't think. Most of the people, they reject language, that is English. They don't want. But by force, now you might have thought like this is the language that by that means I can win the bread for the day. Okay, let us learn it. If you get into the multinational companies now, you cannot survive in the absence of English language. If you get into any kind of arena of life today, English has become the language for survival. So you are tempted to learn. So you learn. So here, the most important point for our discussion is to talk on received pronunciation. And that was the biggest ever question in front of the linguists, what to do in this respect. Because they have observed the learned Indians are speaking a different accent of English. The learned Africans are speaking a different accent of English. Learned Americans are speaking different accent of English. What to do? Even within England, within United Kingdom, if you go to all different isles, okay, you will realize that every isle, every zone, every shire, the people speak. Of course, they speak English, but they speak in different accent. Then the question is, which is the standard one? Which is the standard one? Which has to be accepted as on certain qualitative parameters as a standard one. So this was a big question in front of all the grammarians and the linguists, and then they started thinking about it. If you go to London, you have a Royal English over there, Londonshire English. If you go to Oxford, Oxfordshire English. If you go to Cambridge, Cambridge English. If you go to any other part of the country, again different English. Okay, as a language, it remains the same. Alphabets are same, A to Z. The kind of words which are created with the different combinations of vowels and consonants, they are the same. But the production of sounds vary. So that was a big question in front of the grammarians and the linguists. So finally, they come to a common understanding that we should get rid of this difficulty with language, that the people are pronouncing words in different ways. They are forming sentences and pronouncing sentences in different ways. There is no uniformity of the pronunciation of words and sentences. There should be some uniformity. I don't claim that I am using the standard British accent in order to teach you English phonetics. Not at all. I don't claim so, because I am not capable enough to speak like a British, and not required also. The purpose of learning any language is to communicate. Now, if I am successfully communicating my message or whatever is given there in the text, okay, the textbook of whichever is prescribed to you, if I am conveying the right message to you and you understand that, that's fine. I am successful in communication. So here, that difficulty was identified by the people. And mind it well, as a language, English is not a phonetic language. English is not a phonetic language. What is a phonetic language? Phonetic language is a language that the way that you write, similarly you pronounce. Suppose something is written on your board, just take it for granted. Okay. अब कौन मुझे इन झाड़ियों से बचाएगा। जैसे लिखा है वैसे मैंने पढ़ा। दिस इज द देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट एंड द लैंग्वेज इज हिंदी। बट समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस इन इंग्लिश, the way that you write, you don't pronounce. You take the example of a word kernel. C-O-L-O-N-E-L. How did you write and how do you produce? You have a word like lieutenant. How do you spell out and how do you produce? Means pronounce. So likewise, or else you have a word comb, combing. Combing is every day we do it. Combing, comb. Okay. So the way you write and the way you pronounce, that varies. And that's why it is said, English is not a phonetic language. That is to say, the sound of a word is not the combination of the various sounds of the letters constituting the word. However, you use different alphabets, letters over there. Okay. It may be a consonant, it may be a vowel. Ultimately, each word is a combination of vowels and consonants. Without a consonant, without a vowel, you cannot create any word in English. Minimum one vowel is needed in order to produce a word. And the smallest one is A. A indicates A as an article, and A indicates 1 in number. Okay. That is the smallest one. You may have so many numbers which are very big in pronunciation and writing as well. So here, one thing you need to remember, that English is not a phonetic language. That is, the sound of a word is not the combination of the various sounds of the letters constituting that particular word. And this is what you need to understand here. The way you spell out and the way you pronounce, sometimes it may not match, and that's why English is not a phonetic language. Understood? Right. I can give you any number of examples in this regard. Okay. There are so many. Even just take the example of a sound A. Suppose you start writing something like able, about, at, after, and, all, any, all these words. You started typing, you started spelling out with A. A-B-L-E. Able. See, the pronunciation of A is different here. A-B-O-U-T. About. See, able, about. Variation took place. A-T. At. It is neither A. A. Okay, spelling starts with A. Then A-F-T-E-R. After. So this A becomes A. A-N-T. Ant. Okay, A-L-L. It becomes A now. See here, able, about, at, after, and, all, any means you spell out with a letter A, but every word is giving you a different pronunciation. That's why English is not, it is called like it is not a phonetic language. So this particular aspect you need to understand first. Similarly, there are several words in which you find some letters or some sounds are not being produced while pronunciation. Like yes sir. Don't say yes sir. No need to say r. Okay, certain. No need to say certain. No, certain. R is being silent. Okay, calf. C-A-L-F. Calf. L is silent. Sorry. C-A-L-F. Calf. L is silent. C-O-M-B. Comb. Okay. So one letter is silent. So likewise, there are several words in English. Hundreds and thousands of words are there in English, which has no connection as far as the spelling and pronunciation. So that is the reason English is called that it is not a phonetic language. I hope you understand this particular point here. As I said, the speakers of English are scattered across the world. It is not only the international language today. It is not only the link language today. It is not only the global language today. I always say it is the language for survival today. You cannot survive with respect in the absence of English knowledge. You have to have the command over English. Right? When I say English has become a global language, I mean to say, when you are communicating from Earth to the rest of the world, maybe different planets, maybe the space, maybe our scientists, okay, those who went into the space and communicating with us. So that kind of intellectual transaction is taking place, communication is taking place. So I am calling it a global language. Right? So here you need to understand that the grammarians and the experts in the field of language learning, they come together, they established a society, and that society was called, an organization was called International Phonetic Association, IPA. What was that? International Phonetic Association. What was the objective of forming this particular association? The association wanted to recognize and identify a standard pronunciation of English which can be introduced across the world as a standard way of pronouncing English. It's not like Scottish people speaks differently, Oxfordshire person speaks differently, educated Englishman speaks differently, Yorkshire person speaks differently. No. Let us have an academic standard. Whether it is to be taught within the country like England or UK, or else to be taught across the world, wherever the people of, the people of teaching English, means the teachers of teaching English, they should adopt one particular standard parameter. This is what is the standard. We are supposed to teach the same. We are supposed to learn and teach the same. On that ground, they started. What happened then? They come up with their own observations. They come up with their own study in this respect, and finally their conclusions were introduced, accepted by all the grammarians of that particular International Phonetic Association, and then they introduced one particular accent of their one of the regions as a standard accent of English to be introduced across the world as an academic standard. So that accent is called RP. That accent is called RP. R means received, P means pronunciation, the kind of pronunciation which is widely received and accepted by the people of England and of the world. That's why this is called RP, that is received pronunciation. Received pronunciation is a kind of English speech, or you can also call it a kind of English speech pattern or an accent pattern, but of particularly which people? The people of southeastern educated British people. See, it's a group of people living in the southern eastern part of one particular, region of England, and when they speak, that particular accent is treated as the standard accent of English. Just like Marathi. Which accent in Maharashtra is considered as the standard accent of Marathi? Pune accent. Why do you call it? Very spontaneously you answered the question. The reason is very obvious. Pune is the cultural capital of our state, number one. It is the educational hub, number two. Most of the highly educated, especially the literary figures, prefer to live in Pune, okay, whether they are the playwrights, poets, story writers, biographers, autobiographers, or other intellectuals, they prefer to live in Pune, and the kind of Pune Marathi accent is treated as the sophisticated Marathi accent of this particular language. Probably I may not be able to speak like a Pune sophisticated accent. You may not be able to do, because we are not exposed to that particular region and that particular group of people when they speak and how they speak. If we go there for 3 months, what will happen? In the span of 3 months, our language will be slightly moving towards the sophistication of pronunciation. Suppose we send you to UK for 1 year. When you come back, will you be the same as you are going today? No. You will be totally transformed. And the kind of English that you speak, I may not be able to understand, because mine is a standard English Indian accent. Right? But you will come back with a highly sophisticated British accent, and of course that will be universally accepted. So here you need to remember one thing, that this particular accent, which is called a received pronunciation, which is the accent of the people of the southeastern educated group of people called British people, actually it is used by the Oxford University, British Broadcasting Corporation called BBC, and the public schools in England. See here, who have adopted it very quickly and implemented. Number one, in the campus of the Oxford University, right? Then BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, which is run by the government of UK, just like AIR, All India Radio, controlled by government of India. Likewise, BBC is under the control of Great Britain and the government of Great Britain. Then you have all the public schools providing educational facilities to the people of UK. They have also accepted RP, that is received pronunciation, as a standard pattern or accenting pattern of the language, and they started teaching in that particular accent to all the students. What happens then? Year after year, all the new speakers or the budding children, okay, they are coming up with this accent, that is received pronunciation. So it is widely known as, see, different names are assigned to it. It is widely known as King's or Queen's English, because you know that there is a monarchy. King or the Queen is the supremo of the country. It's not like our country, like president is the chief, okay, chief of the government. But actually who exercise the power? Prime Minister exercise the power. And who controls everybody? The entire Sansad, that you call parliament. Both the houses of parliament, including the president. Everybody has a control over it. So here, this particular accent is widely known as King's accent or Queen's English. And this accent of English or the British people is socially adapted by the British people of Great Britain and widely accepted as a standard by different countries all over the world. And that's why it is called received pronunciation. Received means something that others have given and we have received, we have accepted, right? We have adopted. And this is how this particular accent has become the accent of the entire world today. And you know, Britishers have ruled our country for a couple of centuries, right? And when they left our country on 15th of August 1947, that time, there was again a commotion in our country that which is the language of the country. Okay. What should be or which should be the language of our country, called India, Bharat. And the people couldn't come to the conclusion. Why? Because there was a linguistic sensibility among the people of the southern belt, especially Tamil Nadu, Malayalam, or else Kerala and Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. They have their strong linguistic feeling. And they were not ready, even today they are not ready to accept the domination of Hindi. Not at all. Right? They still want to maintain their own identity along with their own language. So this sort of sensibility was there among the people. That matter became very sensitive. So government, or when we were writing our constitution, the writers or the decision makers could not come to a conclusion that what is going to be the language of the country. Finally, what happened then? English became the official language of our country. Because if you impose Hindi, southern people were opposing it. If you take up any southern language, northern people started opposing, because we don't know the ABC of any southern language. So there was no proper conclusion. Then what happened? English became the official language of our country. Every communication, every drafting, everything was done in English. Even the transfer of authority from the British to Indian people also happened in English, because everything is written in English. Okay? So this is how English became the part and parcel of our system. And when we started teaching in our schools, okay, that time English was not started or introduced from first standard. Now it is started from first standard itself. We started learning from fifth standard. What about you? You started from third standard. Okay. Now the students learn right from play school, they start learning A, B, C, D. Okay. Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. Eating sugar, no, Papa. Open your mouth. Then, ha, ha, ha. Or else your favorite. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That's it. So it is so melodious to pronounce in English, no doubt. But here, the question is how to pronounce. Okay. So here you need to understand that the Indians have also accepted British accent as a standard academic accent to be implemented in Indian schools, colleges and universities. And this is how this accent has become the part and parcel of our entire system, and that's why we call it RP. RP is introduced in UK first. Okay, it was introduced in public schools of England. It was introduced by the British Broadcasting Corporation for their announcers of news and all that. Then it was introduced in the university like Oxford. Okay. Then the people started widely accepting it across the country. Then they decided like, okay, it will be our standard pronunciation of English. We will introduce the same for the other countries in the world. And that was how this particular pronunciation, called received pronunciation of English, became a standard parameter for speaking in that particular language. So this is how is the lesson called received pronunciation. So with this note, I come to a conclusion. If at all you have any doubts and clarifications that you want, now I am open for further discussion. Thank you very much.